Hello, attention all pensioners across the United Kingdom. Stop whatever you are doing right now and listen very carefully to this urgent announcement, because what I am about to share with you today could quite literally mean thousands of pounds placed directly into your bank account, or a permanent, life-changing increase in your weekly income. The Department for Work and Pensions is executing one of the largest and most complex recalculation drives in modern British history, and as we enter September 2026, millions of state pension files across England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland are being audited line by line. If you are currently receiving the basic state pension, the new state pension, or if you stayed at home to raise children or care for loved ones decades ago, you could be owed a substantial tax-free lump sum payment in backdated arrears. Across the country, retirees are receiving back payments of £3,000, £5,000 and, in some extreme cases, well over £10,000. But here is the critical warning that nobody else is telling you. The government is not contacting every single affected person automatically. If your national insurance record contains a historical error and you do not step forward to claim what is rightfully yours, that money will remain locked away in Treasury vaults forever. In this video, I am going to reveal every single category of pensioner affected by this massive September 2026 recalculation wave, the exact amounts of money being paid out, real-life examples of British pensioners who have already claimed their lump sums, and the 4 clear steps you must take right now to protect your pension rights. Make sure you stay watching until the very end, because the final category I will cover affects over 800,000 people across Britain who have no idea they are being underpaid every single week. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that many pensioners could be eligible for a new extra support payment of £200. If you have not heard about this yet, I have left detailed information from an official source in the comments below the video. Make sure to check it out. And now, let us move on to the topic of today's video. Why is September 2026 turning out to be such a monumental turning point for everyone relying on a UK state pension? To understand why this massive recalculation is reaching its peak right now, we have to look back at how civil service records and tax databases were managed over the last 4 decades. For years, quiet administrative errors, missing computer transition codes, and archived paper files created massive gaps in the National Insurance database maintained by Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs and processed by the Department for Work and Pensions. For a long time, these mistakes went unnoticed or were dismissed as isolated filing errors. However, following damning independent investigations and parliamentary audits, the government was forced to admit that systemic administrative flaws had resulted in vast numbers of British citizens being paid significantly less state pension than they had legally earned. Now, in September 2026, the government's official correction exercise is hitting absolute peak momentum. Millions of contribution histories are being recalculated simultaneously, and the financial implications for households across the nation are staggering. Let us dive straight into the first major group of pensioners affected by this September recalculation: mothers and unpaid carers who were unfairly deprived of home responsibilities protection. If you are a woman who took time out of paid employment to raise a family between 1978 and May 2000, this section applies directly to you. Under the regulations introduced in 1978, home responsibilities protection was designed to safeguard your state pension entitlement. For every year you stayed at home caring for a child under the age of 16, home responsibilities protection was supposed to reduce the number of qualifying years needed to receive a full state pension, ensuring that mothers were not financially penalized in retirement for raising the next generation. However, a devastating administrative flaw occurred in how child benefit claims were processed. For claims submitted prior to May 2000, providing a national insurance number was not mandatory on the child benefit application paperwork. Consequently, millions of mothers who claimed child benefit had their records stored without their national insurance number attached. Decades later, when these women reached state pension age, the Department for Work and Pensions computer systems scanned their national insurance records and saw wide, empty gaps. Instead of seeing protected years of motherhood, the automated system recorded 0 contributions for those years. As a direct result of this blunder, hundreds of thousands of British women were awarded drastically reduced weekly state pension rates. Many were given 40%, 50%, or 60% of the full rate, simply because the government failed to link their child benefit claims to their national insurance records. The average back payment for mothers affected by missing home responsibilities protection is currently sitting at around £5,000, with many lump sums exceeding £10,000 or even £12,000 in backdated money. On top of that tax-free lump sum, once your record is recalculated by the Department for Work and Pensions in September 2026, your ongoing weekly pension payout is increased permanently to reflect your true entitlement. Think about what an extra £30, £40, or £50 per week could do for your household budget, especially during the colder autumn and winter months ahead. But do not assume that Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs will automatically find your file. Millions of outreach letters have been sent, but if you have moved home, changed your surname upon marriage or divorce, or if your paper file was archived decades ago, the government may have no way of identifying you without your direct intervention. Now let us move on to the second major category of pensioners who are seeing their payments recalculated this September: married women, widows, and individuals aged 80 and over under the Legacy Leap correction exercise. Under the old state pension framework, which applies to anyone who reached state pension age before April 2016, a married woman was legally entitled to claim an automatic top-up to 60% of her husband's basic state pension rate once he reached 65, provided her own pension built on her individual contributions was lower than 60%. Furthermore, when a husband passed away, a surviving widow was legally entitled to inherit up to 100% of her late husband's basic state pension entitlement. And for anyone reaching the age of 80, regardless of their past work history or national insurance contributions, the law provided a non-contributory Category D state pension to ensure that no elderly person was forced to live on a pittance. Yet, despite these clear legal protections, DWP administrative systems repeatedly failed to apply these top-ups automatically. Married women remained on tiny weekly pensions of £20 or £30 per week because the computer system failed to trigger the 60% spousal upgrade when their husbands retired. Widows were left struggling on reduced payments because manual processing was never carried out by civil service staff. Through the ongoing LEAP recalculation exercise, the government has already paid out over £800 million in backdated arrears to more than 130,000 affected pensioners across the United Kingdom. But as we move through September 2026, thousands of complex cases remain open. The third category of pensioners undergoing major adjustments this month involves workers who were contracted out of the additional state pension, also known as SERPs, or the state second pension. Prior to April 2016, millions of public sector workers, including nurses, teachers, police officers, civil servants, and employees in large corporate workplace pension schemes, were contracted out of the state second pension. This meant that you paid a slightly lower rate of national insurance contributions, and a portion of your retirement benefit was paid through your workplace or private pension scheme instead of the state. When the new state pension was introduced in April 2016, the Department for Work and Pensions established a complex formula to calculate everyone's starting amount. This involved comparing your entitlement under the old system against your entitlement under the new system and deducting a contracted out allowance. However, as tax records and historical scheme data are audited in September 2026, widespread discrepancies are emerging in how these contracted-out deductions were calculated. Thousands of retirees are discovering that their starting amounts were calculated using incorrect data from former pension providers. Even a minor calculation error of £5 or £10 a week makes a tremendous difference over a 20-year retirement, which DWP is now correcting with weekly increases and back pay. Why is September 2026 the crucial turning point for all these recalculations? The answer lies in the unique financial calendar of the United Kingdom and its connection to the famous triple lock policy. Every year in September, the Office for National Statistics publishes the official Consumer Prices Index inflation rate for the 12 months leading up to September. Under the statutory triple lock rules, the government promises to increase the state pension every single April by whichever figure is highest among three metrics: September inflation, average wage growth between May and July, or a guaranteed baseline of 2.5%. Earlier this year, state pension rates were increased under average earnings figures, raising the full new state pension to £241.30 per week, and the basic state pension to £184.90 per week. The upcoming September inflation figures will set the benchmark for the next big pension increase coming in April 2027. Here is why this matters to you right now. If your baseline state pension record is incorrect today, every single future triple lock percentage increase will be applied to a flawed, lower figure. A 4.8% increase on a miscalculated base pension gives you far less money than a 4.8% increase on your true, corrected pension rate. To make this completely crystal clear, let us look at 3 real-life examples of British pensioners who have recently gone through this exact recalculation process and received substantial financial payouts. First, consider the case of Margaret, a 72-year-old retired shop assistant living near Manchester. Margaret worked full-time in her 20s, but took 12 years off work between 1982 and 1994 to raise her 3 children. When Margaret claimed her new state pension a few years ago, she was shocked to discover she was receiving only £160 per week, rather than the full state rate. The Department for Work and Pensions told her she only had 23 qualifying years of national insurance contributions. Margaret assumed there was nothing she could do. However, after learning about the Home Responsibilities Protection Recalculation Drive, she submitted a simple check to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. The government audited her record, added 12 missing years, raised her weekly pension to the maximum rate, and issued a tax-free lump sum back payment of £7,420 directly into her bank account. Second, look at the case of Arthur, an 84-year-old widower from Birmingham living on a basic state pension of just £78 per week. Arthur had an incomplete national insurance record due to seasonal work. Under the rules of the Category D pension, any British resident reaching the age of 80 is entitled to a minimum state pension payout of £85 or more per week, regardless of their contribution history. Because of an administrative oversight, when Arthur turned 80, the DWP failed to upgrade his pension automatically. During a recent record audit, an official flagged Arthur's account, upgraded his weekly pension immediately, and paid him over £3,600 in arrears, covering the 4 years since his 80th birthday. Third, consider Brenda, a 79-year-old widow from Glasgow. Brenda was receiving a small basic state pension based on her own brief work history. When her husband David passed away 6 years ago, Brenda was entitled to inherit David's full basic state pension entitlement, which was significantly higher than her own. However, her payment rate remained unchanged due to a civil service processing error. Following a manual review of her account under the LEAP exercise, the DWP acknowledged the oversight. Brenda received a single lump sum payment of £11,200 in back pay along with an immediate weekly increase of £65. So, how can you take control of your pension record today and ensure that you are not being left behind during this massive September 2026 recalculation wave? Here is your 4-step action plan that you can execute right now. Step 1. Check your official national insurance record. Log in to your personal tax account through official government services or request a paper statement by post. Examine every single year listed from 1978 onward. If you see gaps during years when you were raising children under 16, receiving child benefit, or caring for a sick relative, note those years down immediately. Step 2. If you suspect you are missing home responsibilities protection, fill out Form CF 411 using official government online services, or contact Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs by telephone. Provide details about the years you claimed child benefit and the names and birth dates of your children so HMRC can verify the records and update the Department for Work and Pensions. Step 3. If you are a married woman, a widow, or over the age of 80, contact the Pension Service directly on their official helpline. Request an explicit confirmation of whether your pension rate includes all applicable spousal top-ups, widowhood inheritance rights, or the Category D over 80 minimum threshold, and ask if your account is currently listed for review under the LEAP exercise. Step 4. If you are an executor or next of kin for a relative who has sadly passed away within the last few years, remember that you still have the legal right to request a pension recalculation on behalf of their estate. If your deceased spouse or parent was underpaid state pension during their lifetime, the Department for Work and Pensions is legally obligated to pay those accrued arrears directly to the estate beneficiaries. Before we wrap up, I must issue an urgent safety warning regarding pension scams. Because news of these massive government recalculations and 5-figure back payments is dominating headlines across the United Kingdom, ruthless scammers are actively targeting pensioners. Remember this golden rule: the Department for Work and Pensions and Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs will never send you a text message demanding payment to claim your pension refund. They will never ask for your bank account passwords or credit card details over the phone, and they will never charge a fee or commission to check or recalculate your pension. Any legitimate application is completely free through official government channels. The September 2026 recalculation drive represents a crucial opportunity for millions of retirees across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland to reclaim the money that is rightfully theirs. Whether it is £500 or £15,000, every single pound matters to your financial security and peace of mind. Do not wait for a letter that might never arrive in the post. Take 10 minutes today to check your national insurance record, speak with your family members, and share this crucial information with every pensioner you know. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another urgent UK pension update. Leave a comment down below letting me know if you have checked your record, or if you have already received a recalculation letter from the DWP. Your experience could help thousands of other viewers across Britain. Thank you so much for watching, take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the very next video.